Once upon a time, in a small kingdom, there lived a wealthy and powerful king named William. Although he was rich beyond measure, he was not content. William was obsessed with gold. He believed that true happiness could only come from possessing more wealth. Despite all his riches, he craved even more, constantly yearning for ways to increase his fortune. One day, while wandering through his garden, King William encountered a mysterious figure, a wise old man who seemed to possess an aura of magic. The king, always eager for an opportunity to expand his wealth, welcomed the old man and treated him with the finest hospitality. The wise man, pleased with the king's generosity, decided to grant William a wish. "William," the wise man said, "you have been a gracious host, and for that I will grant you one wish. What is your heart's deepest desire?" Without a moment's hesitation, William exclaimed, "I wish that everything I touch would turn to gold." The wise man looked deep into William's eyes, searching for any hint of doubt or reconsideration, but found none. With a slight nod, he granted the king's wish and vanished into the air. Excited beyond belief, William hurried back to his palace, eager to test his new power. He touched a flower, and instantly it transformed into solid gold. He touched a tree, and it too became a golden statue. Everything he laid his hands on turned into the precious metal he so dearly loved. The king was overjoyed. His wildest dreams had come true. William's newfound ability quickly made him the wealthiest man in the world. His palace gleamed with golden furniture, golden statues, and even golden food. However, as the initial thrill began to fade, William started to notice something unsettling. While his kingdom glittered with gold, something vital was missing life. The once lush and vibrant garden, filled with blooming flowers and green trees, was now a lifeless spectacle of golden plants. His servants, though still dutiful, walked through the palace with nervous energy, avoiding any contact with the king for fear of being turned into gold themselves. William's once cheerful daughter, Zoe, no longer laughed or played, as she could no longer enjoy her favorite flowers or animals. All had been turned to cold, hard metal by her father's touch. William tried to convince himself that this was the price of wealth, that the world was now his to mold into golden perfection. But deep inside, he felt a growing emptiness, a coldness that the gold could not warm. Even when he sat down to eat, his food turned to gold before it reached his lips, leaving him starving despite his immense wealth. Days passed, and the weight of his wish began to crush William. The palace, now silent and empty, felt like a prison made of gold. The king realized that he could no longer enjoy the simple pleasures of life, eating, drinking, and embracing his daughter without turning them into something lifeless and cold. One afternoon, Zoe came running towards him with tears in her eyes, seeking comfort from her father. Forgetting his curse, William reached out to hug her, and in that moment, she too turned into a golden statue. The king's heart shattered as he stared at the lifeless form of his beloved daughter, now frozen in gold. What had once seemed like a dream come true had now become a nightmare. Desperate and grief-stricken, William cried out for the wise man to return. "Take this curse away," he begged. "I would give up all the gold in the world to have my daughter back, to have life and love return to my kingdom." Don't forget to like and subscribe to get notified about new videos. The wise man, hearing William's plea, appeared before him once more. "William," he said softly, "you have learned a valuable lesson. True wealth is not measured by the gold you possess, but by the love, life, and happiness that surround you." With a wave of his hand, the wise man lifted the curse. Zoe returned to her human form, blinking in confusion before she threw her arms around her father. The flowers, trees, and animals in the garden regained their vibrant colors and lively movements. The food on William's table once again became edible. The palace, though still grand, no longer glittered with the coldness of gold, but with the warmth of life. William, humbled and wiser, realized that his obsession with wealth had blinded him to what truly mattered. He understood now that the joy of life could not be bought or measured in gold. The king vowed to cherish every moment with his daughter, to appreciate the beauty of the world around him, and to share his wealth with those in need. From that day on, William was no longer known as the king who sought gold above all else. Instead, he became known as the wise ruler who understood the true meaning of wealth. He invested in his people, building schools, hospitals, and gardens that everyone could enjoy. His kingdom prospered not just in riches, but in happiness and well-being. The story of King William spread far and wide, reminding everyone who heard it that true happiness comes not from the riches we hold in our hands, but from the love we hold in our hearts. William had learned that the greatest treasures in life were not those that could be turned to gold, but those that could bring warmth, joy, and meaning to his life and the lives of others. If you enjoyed my video, please like and subscribe.